So we just returned from a 7-day Alaska cruise, and we traveled on the Holland America Eurodam. And we're just going to do a quick review of our personal pros and cons of traveling on the Eurodam. This is our second cruise of taking the Eurodam, and we traveled back in 2017 on the Holland America Eurodam, and it was my first cruise, so I really enjoyed it. And I've compared every cruise I've been on to my first cruise. So I really, between the two of us, we really wanted to go back and just see what it would be like, not just on the Eurodam, but traveling with Holland America again, because after using other industries and since COVID happened, we just wanted to see how it compared. And to start, we really enjoyed ourselves. The pros with Holland America are usually the service is amazing. The workers are amazing. They wait on you everywhere you go, and the food is great. The buffet standard is pretty high quality for a buffet. We've been on some cruises where the buffet standard is a big drop down compared to the dining. And with Holland America, even though it's not quite as good as the restaurants, it's pretty close in my mind and in my view. So Holland America definitely gets a thumbs up for that. Do you have anything to add about your first thoughts of traveling again with Holland America? Or
it was interesting to go back to Holland America again. This is our third time with them and the second time on the Eurodam. And our first cruise was 2017, and that was with the Eurodam. And it was nice because some of the things that were my favorites were the make your own pasta bar, the make your own crepes bar. When I say make your own, they're still making it for you, but you get to pick all the pieces and all the ingredients, which I like. So it's kind of like your own custom items. And so I really enjoyed that the first time. And so it was nice to come back 7 years later and see that was still an option. I have crews on other lines where they have something that you really love, and then you go back a couple years later and they've taken that off their ships. And so it was nice to know that you can go back and still have those little items that made for really great memories on the first one. Those were still there. There were some changes on the ships for sure, but some of those things were still there, which I appreciated.
And some pros and cons. So like our first time traveling with Holland America, we were different. We had no child. So most of the demographic tends to be retired age, and it's pretty low key. It's calm. It's really, you can take in if you take an Alaska cruise, you can really take in the environment because there's not a lot of flashing noise around you and lights flashing, and just you're not going to be bugged by, hairy chest contests on the pool deck, and you could just have time to just walk the decks, take some good pictures. It's a really calm cruise, and if you have a life that is hectic and you need to get away from just all the noise, Holland America was what we really enjoyed back in 2017, and it was perfect. The difference for us is we had a child since then, and things that we didn't care about back then, we care about now. So it was a little bit harder for us traveling on Holland America this time because you had to change a lot of your personal preferences of what you do last time. And now you have to, of course, when you have a child, you have to think about, the kids club, and you have to think about, what do they serve this food on the buffet, and do they serve that food? So personally, I would think if you have a child, it's a little more difficult to travel on Holland America because with the kids club, they had limited hours. The hours were certain time blocks. Do you have anything to add for that, or do you?
Yeah, I think like you're saying, it's important to know what you're looking for in the cruise and know what your family needs and what your family enjoys. And so we still do like low-key entertainment. One of the things we still love is just sitting around watching live music, and it's real jazzy. We enjoyed previously the Lincoln Center Stage Quartet, which was great, but they didn't have that this time. They had changed out some of their entertainment, and so that was a little bit different. Is the entertainment has changed on Holland America over the last 7 years, and so be aware of that. but definitely knowing what your family needs and wants and planning around that. So for us, Holland America Kids Club was only open for like 2 or 3 hours at a time, spread out multiple times during the day. And so we had to do a lot more planning and orchestrating than I probably would have enjoyed on a different ship if the kids club was just all day. And so it's definitely, you got to know what you're looking for and what you're wanting and plan around that.
Yeah, because we did a Canada New England cruise in the fall last year, and
with Princess,
and you were able to just, hey, we're going to Boston today, drop your kid off at the kids club, and just whenever you come back, if it's during lunchtime, they would take your kid to get some food, and so you didn't really have to worry. But with Holland, it was a little more difficult because they had time blocks. So even though you're at the port, it would be like, sometimes it'd be like, after we're at the port for an hour, then kids club is available for 2 hours. And so it made it really hard.
Holland didn't offer meal service for the kids.
Yeah.
And so I think that was the biggest difference and one of the harder parts. The 2 cruises we did last year, both of them offered meal support or meal services with kids club. And so if your kid was at kids club during lunch, they would actually walk the kids out to their buffet and help them get their food. And it was really nice if you wanted to be in port. Or even if you just wanted to go have lunch, just the 2 of you in the main dining and enjoy a nice lunch, your kid was taken care of. And so for here, they actually closed kids club right at lunchtime. And so you had to make sure you got your kid out of kids club in enough time to get ready to go get to eat. And then you'd have lunch together. And then you could take them back about an hour after lunch. But it changes the flow of your day when you have to make those arrangements, and you can't just go enjoy your afternoon because the kids club is not going to be offering your kid little meal service.
Now this could be a pro for someone if, say, you don't have children and you don't want to be around that many children. Holland America is perfect for that, and that was our before we had a child. That was perfect because you're not going to have kids running around everywhere. It was quiet. It was quiet, and so if you're somebody that's looking for a quiet cruise, you don't want to be bugged all the time with noise and different things like that. Holland America is perfect. But then on the opposite side of that, since cruising with Holland, I've gone a couple other cruises and realize now that, my personality is changing, and maybe I'm more picky now, but I enjoy more entertainment than like Holland America they do some good things, but for me personally, I'm not a big coloring fan. So, when you're on a sea day and everybody's walking around the ship, not sure what to do, it's hard when some of the activities are, coloring and, things like that. And, we all enjoy different things, but it was hard when it was raining and the decks, pretty much nobody's going outside. So everybody was crammed in to some really tight spots, and when there's not much entertainment, it was pretty hard. And I would say their entertainment is really limited in most areas, because even in the rooms, the movie selection is very limited. If you want to watch a movie, they're small scale. It was hard with a child because there was only a couple movies, and most of them I probably wouldn't let my child watch. So it made it where we were really looking for things to do a lot of times. And there were some pros and cons in that. And like I said, if you're somebody that has a hectic life and you just want to chill and relax, Holland America is the way to go. You feel like they're taking care of you. You can get spoiled a little. But then also, I can see where there's a pro and a con to this. I don't know your thoughts on it, but I used to love them serving me food. Like in the buffet, I used to love that. I feel like they're taking care of me. This is great. But then after I went on a couple other cruise lines, the problem here is the lines get so long, and it may take you 20 minutes in line, and it's such a slow process with them having to serve you on everything. And I really valued how Princess and some of these other, even Carnival, how you can just walk up and scoop your stuff and then walk off. But if you have to wait for, 40 people to scoop something on their plate, you're going to be waiting quite a long time. And
with that, what I found harder in the buffet for Holland was you had to get in line, and then you get your plate, and hopefully there's something you want at that station. And if there's not, you just spent 15 minutes waiting in line to not want anything at that station, and then you got to go to the next station because every station is different. And so unless you literally walk the entire route of the buffet to know what everything is first, you won't know where you actually want to stand in line to get your food. And you can't just hop in and out of lines. Like, you need to wait your time in line because they're serving everybody in order. And they actually have signs that say the line starts here, and they guide people through the line. So again, it's knowing what you like, knowing what you value, and what you want to put up with for what you're getting. And so one thing I do like with Holland that I've not seen on any other ship is a lot of the items that are in main dining for your meal times, they do have on the buffet. And so I would always, in the stateroom, I would check the menu every day to see what was going to be in the main dining versus what was on the buffet to know how I wanted to spend my day. And a lot of times the items I wanted from main dining were also on the buffet. And so for us, having a kid, it's nice to just be able to pilfer around as you want and not sit in a 2-hour long dining experience. And so having Holland, where a lot of the main dining items are on the buffet, gives a little bit of the best of both worlds to me.
And Holland America, like I said, it is an experience that a lot of people really enjoy. They like to be, like I said, it's nice to sit at the buffet and have someone come ask if you want coffee and fill up your coffee cup. And it's really nice. And it's a especially when you have a child and you're sitting there and you're like, how am I going to go fill my tea up? Well, a lot of times with Holland America, they're going to have someone walk by and just say, hey, do you need anything? And you're like, tea, and then they'll bring it. So that's a big blessing with Holland America that you don't get with a lot of other cruise lines. And I made a quick video for this the other day, and the room service, having room service is definitely a pro with Holland America that you have to pay for with most other cruise lines.
That's the thing, is the room service for their standard menu is included with your cruise fare. And so that is one of my pet peeves with other cruise lines, is you don't have room service included. You might get continental room service delivered for breakfast, maybe. But with Holland, they've pretty much got 24-hour room service available, and it's included. They do have where you can purchase items from their dining venues, like their dive-in or the Tamarind sushi bar. You can order items, and those will have a surcharge on them. But for regular 24-hour room service, you could order it and they bring it to you. And also, we learned you can request items from the main dining room delivered to your stateroom during those meal times. And so there was one night, we didn't get to do it, but one night when it was the formal dining, we could have called room service during the dinner time on the dressing night and had the lobster delivered to our rooms. It was part of the main dining included menu, and so we could have had that delivered to the room, and that's something you definitely have to pay a surcharge for on other ships.
And something to note, if you take the, say, Alaska cruise, and that's because we went on the Alaska cruise, but Holland America does, all the cruises that are out there pretty much. So, just in taking note with the Alaska cruise, Holland a lot of times had preference at the ports. So I see where if you travel with NCL or, maybe Carnival, things like that, you most of the time will get the bad spots at the port. So that's something to note. We did get stuck on the AJ dock on our Juneau day, but for the most part, usually you get the better spot. And I do think it was because there was a warship or something that day. There was
a military ship in Juneau the day we were docking, and so the military got preference that day, and so we were out at the AJ dock.
Yeah, so I understand that. So Holland does have preference, them and Princess, I believe, on in Alaska. So note that. And like I said, for the most part, America was pretty good. It's just as cruising, you hate to sound like you're picky, but when you have options, you just weigh all the options. Holland America, the rooms were great. Like I said, you had a bathtub.
That's important to note.
Yeah.
Our room was a balcony. I think it was like a standard balcony room, and it had a full bathtub. It wasn't like a weird little corner shower or a shower basin with a curtain. It was a full, you could sit in, take a bath in there. So that's not in any other cruise line I don't think I've ever been on. where a room, even balcony room, had a bathtub. So
yeah, usually you have to get like the suites or, you know, pay some extra, but with Holland, you didn't have to do that. So that was good. And you don't feel like they're trying to nickel and dime you at every corner. So that's definitely a plus. And for the most part, Holland America just lets you do your thing. And, you know,
it's a more traditional cruising experience. And so that's one thing that's nice. Like, you're not nickel and dimed for every little thing. Yeah, there's things you can pay more for, of course, but it's a traditional cruising experience. You're cruising for the sake of cruising, not for the sake of entertainment, not honestly for the sake of even ports. With Holland, you're cruising for the cruise experience. And so the service, there's a high ratio of service staff to guests. So that is really nice. There's always somebody attentive, and they take very good care of their ships. And so, like, the outside, like, I know some things that you can tell the ship is getting a little bit older, but inside they were polishing every shiny surface. The windows didn't have spots on them. You could always get a great view out to see the landscape, which in Alaska you go for landscape. And so it's nice that they give you a very good cruise experience.
And just like anything, it depends on your personality if Holland America is good for you. I know we did this cruise a couple years ago with my dad and his wife, and we had a great time because a lot of the fun you have is sitting around the tables talking with your family and just checking out the view. And on Alaska cruise, you don't need a lot of entertainment if you love wildlife. If you love wildlife, like my dad and I, you'd sit on your balcony with your binoculars for hours and just watch for whales and talk. So if you're looking for that kind of experience with a cruise, if you're looking for, I want to unplug, I don't want to be disrupted with all the noise, I want to spend quality time with my family, I want to, you know, maybe you work a crazy job all week and you're just like, I don't want busyness.
I did not want internet access.
Yeah. So for someone like that, that's perfect. Now, if you're somebody that's like, you want to do tons and tons of entertainment, you're looking for fun, you're just, you know, you want the water slides, you want movie night all the time, you want the best, the game shows all the time, and you want this constant entertainment, Holland America may not be the best for you because that's what, you know, their demographics a little different. And so we're just trying to give you all the information from our standpoint on why Holland America could be good for you, or maybe if a different cruise line would be better for you in this situation. But like and subscribe. We'll get more videos out to you soon. We look forward to talking to you in the coming days.